live. I forgot to click that, but we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Guys, we got a good show in store for you tonight. Man, is it going to be a week for LSU? Guys, is it going to be a week for LSU? Who is going to start at quarterback, Miles Brennan or T.J. Finley? Also, Sage Ryan says that he's committing. The five-star safety out of Lafayette says he's committing this Saturday. I'm going to tell you, I don't know about it, y'all. I don't know about it. But Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com will be joining us at 7:15 Central Time, and he's going to be breaking all of that down. We're going to have to start going on a streak here to see how many times our man, Jalen Landry, is in the first in the comments. I feel like he's just refreshing his phone, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, because he's on a hot streak. He's unbeatable. Stephen Miller, he said, let's get it. What's going on, guys? We greatly appreciate y'all joining the show. Stephen said he's going to be coming like thunder and hitting like lightning. All right. Let's control the line of scrimmage and win this bitch, says Jared Smith. Okay, Jared. Okay. I'm with you. Everyone joining us and listening to us on the podcast, we are always excited to be partnered over with our good friends over at Believe. Guys, go rate and subscribe to everywhere you listen to podcasts as well. We'll greatly appreciate it. Man, it's not looking good with Sage Ryan says, Vic, no. It ain't. It sure as hell ain't. Oh, let do it, says our good friend Reginald Cormier in the comments. I grew my guy Dylan well, says Stephen Miller. You have. It's TJ time, says Chase Hoyt. It is that. We'll definitely probably see him on Saturday. Stephen Miller, that you have, my boy. All right. Tell Mike lets me down easy. Okay, we'll ask Mike to let you guys down easy on the Sage Ryan news. If he does pick Bama, but we'll see. We'll ask the recruiting expert Mike Scarborough, see what he says. Doug Jubiasi, who is a very big listener to the Bill King Show, who we'll be on with tomorrow morning at 7:05 Central Time, says if both quarterbacks are ready to go, who would you roll with this week? Well, Doug, stay tuned because we'll be talking about that in just a second. But before we get started, guys, as always, go check out our guys over at GM Varno & Sons. GM Varno & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repair, routine maintenance, tire repair, tire rotation, tire sales. No job, literally, is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And go see them over at 2500 Florida Boulevard, Denham Springs, Louisiana, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the number one real estate firm in all of the North Shore, your home team. Go see all of their great listings at team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. Give them a call and set up an appointment with one of all of their great real estate agents at 985-467-7355. That's 985-467-7355. And you can go follow them on Facebook at Your Home Team LA. Doug DiBiase had a question, and let me put this question back up from the old Duckster. Says, if both quarterbacks are ready to go, well, let's stop right there. I don't think both quarterbacks are ready to go. I don't think that Miles Brennan is remotely ready to go, guys. I don't think he's close. I think hearing Ed Orgeron today on Off the Bench with Jordy Culotta and T-Bob Hebert, when he says, hey, we're going to let Miles Brennan go 25%, and when asked, Ed Orgeron goes, yeah, he didn't do a whole lot. That means to tell me that Ed Orgeron did not see Miles Brennan go 25%. And if we're being a little bit honest, I don't know how much this is an oblique tear. I'm not going to say what I hear. Broken rib. But guys, if Ed Orgeron fully believed that it was an ab tear against an Auburn team from a fourth-year quarterback, I don't know. Not saying that it's not saying it's not, but we'll see. But Doug, to finish your question, who would you roll with this week? I'd roll with TJ. Not a question. Not in my mind. What up, though, says Marvin Mackey. What's up, brother? He says, or Dylan Landry says, break that window. You know, Jeff in the Burrow, I almost said Joe Burrow, but Jeff in the Burrow, he sure as hell didn't call. I sent him an email, y'all. He sure didn't hit me back. Ho, 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 victory. Says Landry. Beat Auburn. Blaine. This is going to be one. Blaine Smith on Facebook Live says, hashtag beat Auburn. Blaine, this is definitely going to be your kind of show because I know how much you love recruiting. Is Sage gone? Well, we're going to be asking Mike Scarborough here in just a minute to see what he has to say from TigerBait.com, who does fantastic work in regards to not just LSU recruiting, but recruiting in general. Guys, I think some keys this Saturday for Auburn for LSU to beat Auburn. I don't think it's going to come down to much, y'all. I really don't think so. Here's why I say this. Auburn has the second to worst rushing defense in all of the SEC. What did LSU do last week? Well, they just went 70% rushing, 30% passing on a true freshman quarterback, and you get 276 yards on the ground. So are you going to sit here and tell me and try to convince me that South Carolina's defense is not as good as Auburn's? Yeesh. No. I think South Carolina might have a pretty damn good defense when you're comparing it to Auburn, right? So what should the game plan and the keys be for LSU on Saturday? On the offensive side, if we're being quite honest, I don't know how much I would change. Maybe hitting some, try to get TJ to hit a little bit more passes, maybe get him some more passing attempts. But other than that, y'all, I'm not going to bitch when it comes to 52 points. Not going to do it. Okay. Well, Blake, they didn't technically score 52 points. You're right. They didn't because you had a pick six from Eli Ricks. Ricks 6 in the city. I get that. So just subtract 7, and they still got over 40 points this past weekend. Blaine Smith says, where is that Kentucky fan at? He ain't coming back here, y'all. Not until Kentucky wins. And if he comes back to me again, he's not coming on this show because when they lose, he's nowhere to be found. Esteban. What's up, Esteban? He says, just let him sit. Don't push the issue and end up hurting him regardless if you want TJ or Miles Brennan. We still need them both. I'm with you there. Yeah, don't push them. But let me tell you something. And I might have to bring on a physical therapist or someone or a doctor to come in here and talk to us. Guys, either Miles Brennan just isn't right or this isn't just an average abdomen tear. Ed Orgeron didn't sound good this morning, y'all. I'm just telling you what I didn't really plug in more, but it just doesn't feel good. Run the ball, says Jontrell Thompson. Stephen Miller says, oh, they gonna run it, unlike Kevin Steele can't stop it. That's true. Jason Sheridan says, we need to be honest. Auburn should probably be 1-4 right now, which is a very good point. A very, very good point. And they've had their woes, but the truth of it is, guys, the truth of it is they're not. They found, even in the most unblickable way, they found ways to win. They shouldn't have won against Arkansas. They shouldn't have won against Ole Miss. But they did. But the defense is not good right now for Kevin Steele. And why I think they run the football and they do exactly what they did this past Saturday. On the defensive side, you got to change up personnel. Guys, you got to change up personnel at this point. What are you going to lose? What has Jordan Tolles shown you in practice that can be any worse than what we're seeing right now, y'all? Like, seriously, what has Jordan Tolles shown you that is not as bad as we've seen at safety play? Michael Baskerville comes into the game, and you look a lot better on the defensive side. Now, a lot of you have been asking me, and I know Alex King, who comes in here, our local Tangy guy, about Devontae Lee. I'm just going to tell you what I'm hearing and why I think you haven't seen Devontae Lee at linebacker, because he's no longer at linebacker. He's back on the offensive side from what I understand and what I hear. With that being said, I hope that really lets you guys understand why you have not seen Devontae Lee at the linebacker position and you've seen more Michael Baskerville. Let's see. Marvin Mackey says, our DNs need to set the edge and read everything, read option. Auburn will run it. Yeah, and they're going to send a lot of misdirection too. How is Iowa State and OU ranked with 2 losses and not LSU? ISU lost to the Cajuns. Guess the AP is waiting to see what they do this weekend. Maybe so. But right now, guys, I'm not – look, you got to go prove it against Auburn. I mean, look, at this point, it doesn't really matter. You got to go out there and keep winning. That's the only thing, Joseph, in my opinion, that really matters. Very concerning with all the COVID cases Florida's having. Wonder if they have to cancel some games. Well, they already did. I mean, technically, they rescheduled with LSU and then rescheduled again. So, I mean, look, not with LSU, but it's not looking good. But they said that they'll only have single digits out this week from COVID cases. So it looks like that they'll be ready to go against Missouri this week. Baskerville did look really good, says Blaine Smith. Tight end, number 16, says Chase Soy. Okay. He ain't wrong, I don't believe. But he's definitely number 16. Blake, have you heard of RJ Young, the Oklahoma guy on YouTube? Vic, I have not. I'll have to go check him out. I have not. Guys, I try not, and Vic, it seems like you just started to come into our show. I don't listen to a lot of radio or YouTube people just because I try to come up with my own ideas as much as I can because, you stole my idea. Which, by the way, a burner account who we believe is from another podcaster keeps retweeting my stuff. It's getting really aggravating. And by the way, I know that you're watching the show right now, so if you want to get out, you can. Uh-oh. Stephen Miller says, don't want to hear about any ranking of LSU until they beat Auburn if they need to be ranked. That's true. All right, let's go ahead and get over to Mr. Mike Scarborough. It is 7:15. We got a lot of recruiting news that we need to get into, so let's go ahead and give him a call right now. Getting to some of the comments, let's see. Red says Auburn game will be big going into the bye week. I agree. I do agree. Bring.
Hello.
Mr. Mike Scarborough.
What's happening?
Not much. We got a lot of recruiting. They want you on right now, my man, more than they want me. So I guess that's some good news, and we do have some recruiting news this week.
Well, yeah. Look, Jack Best got offered Saturday morning. That was big news. Matthew Langlois from Catholic Point Capee committed yesterday at noon. We thought it was going to be at 6 o'clock Sunday night. Had the story all ready to go. And he got an offer from Notre Dame that night. And then this afternoon, Sage Ryan tweets out that he's going to announce his commitment on Saturday, October 31st, which I'm sure your listeners and viewers that's the one they're curious about.
Yeah, that's the number one question that they're curious about, Mike. Let's start off and let's get to Sage Ryan last year because I feel like it's going to be the biggest topic. At least it has been the biggest topic so far. Let's break down number one. A lot of people have been talking about Beck, and we're really wondering if he was ever going to get an LSU commit. Now, he does. He is a teammate with an LSU quarterback and commit of 2022, Walker Howard. Break him down for us a little bit. What do you see? Because I know that you've covered that team better than anybody. Actually, it is the best. So what have you seen from him? And if he does decide to flip from Vanderbilt to LSU, what would LSU fans be getting in him?
Well, the thing with Jack is, and I joked with him about it Saturday when I was beefing up my story with some quotes for, him getting the offer. And I said, what's funny is every time I do a Walker Howard highlight film from when I'm out filming an STM game, it's interchangeable. It can either be a Walker Howard highlight or it's a Jack Besh highlight, and the clips are the same. So, of course, Walker's got the Arsenault kid and several others that are very good football players too. But no, he's just a strong competitor. He's 6'2", 6'2" to 6'3", 215 pounds. Combative on a football field, runs great routes. If it's a 50-50 ball, it's going to be his. Everybody's going to want to knock him because he doesn't have 4.3 speed or 4.4 speed. And that's, I think, why people were hesitant. But it's like, what have we seen? LSU offered, then here comes Mississippi State, TCU, Texas. And I think more are coming. He's just, and look, and he's not only that, he's a great student. He comes from a highly educated home. And so, look, I think it's a matter of time before he flips to LSU. I don't know if it's going to be in a few days or in December, but I will say this at the same time, they weren't sneezing at that Vanderbilt education that he could have been getting either. So,
right.
But no, he's just a great kid. And the thing about it is, like, if you just watch the last film I put up of him, the Catholic game, he's a fighter, man. He doesn't like, he's going to talk smack with corners that like to talk trash. And he's going to, you push him, or he thinks you're giving him the business a little bit too far out of bounds. He's going to push back. I mean, he's got a fire in his belly, and I think that's a big part of his game. You're not going to outwork him, and I think a lot of those kids at that STM, and you also see it at Catholic High, and some of these programs, the work ethic that they have in these programs is off the charts. So I just think he's going to continue to hone his game and get bigger and stronger. And I know a lot of people say, can he be a tight end? And I've always said, if you put him side by side or back to back with Thaddeus Moss, what is the size difference between the two of them? I think their 40 time is probably similar.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, look, I think that he's just a baller, Mike. Like, look, and I don't break down recruiting just as great as you do, but when I see it, he just looks like a baller, right? Like a kid that just plays football, like the Bosa's in a sense. Now, I'm not comparing him to a first-round pick. No, I'm not doing that. But they didn't wow you with any of the statistics, but what they did wow you was all the great fundamentals that they had. And that's what I just think. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com is our guest. All right, so, Mike, we're having a lot of hashtag Ask Mike's inside Facebook Live. Excuse me. They want to know about Matthew Langlois, who flipped over from Kansas State to LSU. And obviously this has a little bit of a tie here, and that's, I think, the biggest question for everybody. He commits to LSU or flips to LSU. Now Sage Ryan is saying that, he's going to be committing on the 31st. Mike, is LSU taking Langlois because they feel that Sage Ryan is going to Bama?
I don't think that those two are related. I think that they've been recruiting Langlois for several months. This is where I've been on Sage Ryan for a while. I've always had him in the probable category to LSU, and it's always been because of Trev Falk and Kev Falk being relatives, cousins and so forth. But at the same time, Sage Ryan has also been a kid that's, he's kind of quiet. He's not real active on social media. Compared to a lot of other recruits. And, what's funny is last night I called somebody connected to the LCA program because I'm running the numbers. Langlois gets flips. Jack Besh gets offered. And so, if you want to start filling the numbers, you can go 22 through 24, 25 in a hurry. And,
right.
And if you start thinking, okay, some of the kids out of state, you're like, something's got to give, because if everybody that you think they're going to get and everybody that is a good possibility, you're at 27. Mm-hmm. So I start wondering, well, what is Sage Ryan waiting on? So I make a call last night, and then I laugh because I start inquiring, digging around last night, and then this afternoon he tweets out he's committing on Saturday, and I'm like, I reached out to my LCH source and said, "What did you do?" So,
right.
And got to laugh at it. But look, Saturday is Saban's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's one of these deals where I think if LSU's been confident for a while, I've had him in the probable category, and now I'm from the Alabama side, they're extremely confident, and I think their staff is leaking stuff to those guys that cover recruiting in their market that they feel good about where they stand with Sage Ryan. And while they might be surging, it looks like LSU might be on roller skates. So where's this thing by the end of the week? I think we've seen this before, haven't we? Wasn't there another Louisiana kid that committed to Alabama on Saban's birthday?
There sure is. There sure is.
Who was it that did that?
I want to say that it was Mike. It wasn't Devontae Lee. I mean, not Devontae Smith, was it?
It was somebody.
I don't know.
And I'm having a too many Diet Cokes moment right now.
Well, I'll have to look that up. So, Mike, let me just ask you this again. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com is our guest. I guess everyone's kind of wanting to know the confidence level that you have that he's going to be going to either LSU or Bama. I mean, you kind of hit on it there.
It's based on what I've been getting in the last few hours. I'm probably 50-50 right now.
Mike, let me ask you this.
The fact that he's announcing on Saturday Saban's birthday, is this a deal where he does it at noon and then LSU starts playing football at 2:30 and then he drifts off into the sunset? Is that how it's going to work?
That was my next question. I
don't know. He hadn't put out a time of when he's going to do it, but I'm just trying to put together a mental picture of how this might roll out on Saturday.
Well, and I think that's the question because, I mean, and even though they might not be connected, I think it's just very difficult, Mike, for fans to sit here and say, well, then Langlois commits, and then the Sage Ryan news, and then you hear a lot of things coming out, and, Bama insiders, regardless if they believe it or they have the source or whatever, I guess it's just difficult for them not to see that he's going to Bama. Mike, let me ask you this from a recruiting standpoint. Even taking Sage Ryan out, but other kids will obviously see this and will know the connection. Do you think that really affects LSU from a standpoint that, well, hell, he don't even want to go to LSU? Do you think that has a big effect on LSU this season in recruiting?
No, I don't. There's a lot of factors that can go on behind the scenes. You never know as to what's being promised, who's the contact. That sort of thing. It's last year LSU needed a center bad. They couldn't even get Cedric Van Pran to get on campus.
Right.
Well, why was that? Well, because it was George and Kirby Smart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll leave it at that.
Well, and that's been, the rumors have obviously flown around here, Mike, in reference to that. Well, we'll see what Sage Ryan. I'm using the if I'm typing it out and it's George and Kirby Smart, instead of using S for smart, I'm using the dollar sign. That's right. All right. We got a couple of questions in here for you, Mike. Reginald Cormier asks, #Ask Mike, is Derek Davis still coming in town this weekend, and how do you feel of our chances are with him?
Yeah, I haven't. I have not dug into that. I'm not seeing what I need to get some more info on that, honestly.
Okay. Also, we have a couple more comments in here as well. Let's see, and I just missed it. Stephen Miller says, if LSU loses both Ryan and Smith, meaning Mason Smith, what does that say about the program overall? Mike, in recruiting, if they were to lose the number 2 guys out of the state, what is that saying? Is LSU? I mean, because you know what the panic's going to be.
I can tell you right now, and And if someone wants to doubt me, and I'm not just saying it because we're thinking that Sage Ryan might be Alabama. I've been saying it, and I talked to someone yesterday at St. James. It was actually yesterday that I'm thinking about moving Savion Jones up to the number 2 spot in Louisiana.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, Mike,
Yes,
he's had a really good season now. I mean, look, he's I've been around. I've been seeing everybody in person, unlike these flakes on a lot of the networks who don't go out and watch high school football. And I know what I see. Well, I guess to that question, if they were to, considering, some of these services that have them 1 and 2, if they do lose, arguably, I guess to some, those 2 players out of the state, is there going to be start feeling around LSU of panic?
No, here's the thing. I am never, ever going to say that it's the end of the world for LSU when they lose a safety.
Right.
I will say it's a big black eye if you lose a top defensive lineman like Mason Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a black eye when they lost Ismail Sopsher because I wasn't high on him.
Yeah.
And I told everybody, and I've let my thoughts known on that, and now we know what's happening. So, no, there's a difference between a defensive lineman like Mason Smith and a safety. LSU lost Landon Collins, and I'll argue with anybody that had Landon Collins going to Alabama didn't cost LSU any additional wins or losses in the coming years.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Because defensive backs are not a problem for LSU.
Never has been.
You might have a little instance like right now where you're a little young and you had some opt outs in a crazy year, but it is DBU. It's so yeah. You don't want to lose anybody. I'm not saying you just blow it off, but it's not. It's that position that's never going to be the end of the world for LSU. But you don't want to lose a defensive lineman like Mason Smith when he's the only one in the state, because they don't grow on trees, particularly at his height, in size and explosiveness. Just like you wouldn't want to lose next year when it's such a rarity in the state of Louisiana to find high caliber offensive linemen. It would be a huge blow if you were to lose an Emory Jones or a Will Campbell from Neville. Those are blows.
Right. And look, Mike, the truth is
defensive backs grow on trees in Louisiana, and I'll always say that.
Well, and the truth is, Mike, is that if you look at LSU's injuries and really across the nation, the number 1 injured areas have been on the defense and offensive line, and you have to have big depth there or you'll get in big trouble. Go ahead, Mike.
Right. So you not only are you able to recruit at the highest level in Louisiana, but you're also able to go out of state. And look, we hadn't even seen Jordan Tolles. I think he's got a future. So, that's not going to be a problem. But we're going to see how this plays out here in the coming days with Sage Ryan. But the date of it being Saban's birthday and Halloween, that's kind of an odd time to do it. Usually if you want to make a big splash because you're a Louisiana kid and you're committing LSU, you typically want to do it on a weekday in the morning or at noon so you get the full news cycle and all the attention.
I'm with you. Mike, we have one more question. Then I want to ask you about the game. Reginald Cormier asked, he says, #ask Mike. And I know that this kid is very quiet, but the wide receiver out of Walker and Brian Thomas, what's your thoughts on him? Is he another guy that could slightly be leaning to Bama as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, there was a lot of scuttlebutt a few months ago with, the barber and all that stuff. And then when we started seeing all the pictures with him and Chris Hilton, he's just quiet. I mean, I've interviewed him twice in the last 6 to 8 weeks on Tiger Bait, and both interviews are almost identical. He holds his cards close to the vest. So we'll see how that plays out. Indeed, Alabama's involved with him, but also Texas A&M is Tommy Robinson. Nobody brings up A&M with him but me, and I think they are a factor.
Well, Mike, I'm not going to say who said it because I was listening to him on the way home, but I saw that you were talking about it, and all of a sudden, here they came again, and now they're putting A&M back in the factor too. Just throwing that out there. Just saying, because you've been having it and you've been on it for such a long time. Mike, getting over to the game, look, and basically I knew that this was going to happen after TJ Finley did really well last week. The number one question is if Miles Brennan does not, and I know we're playing a little bit of a hypothetical, but we expect for TJ to go out and play another good game. If Miles does not go out there this week and TJ does put on a good performance and it's 2-0 in the start of his career, you have the open date and then you have Alabama. Mike, in your opinion, who do you go with? And quite frankly, do you pull out a hot young quarterback and a hot freshman like TJ Finley?
Boy, that's a scenario you painted. I mean, seriously, I don't want to be Orgeron and look, and I get it. You don't let your quarterback doesn't lose his starting job over an injury. I get it, but if he has a performance at Auburn like he did at home, on the road as a second start as a true freshman, I mean, I don't know how you take the ball out of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it.
Mike, yeah, I know it's a hard question, but I mean, look, we've been on this.
No, how do you thread that needle if you're Ed Orgeron? How do you keep both of them happy?
Well, Mike, I don't know if it's
what way could you handle that?
Well, Mike, I don't know if it's really just Miles Brennan and TJ Finley you have to handle. I mean, look, I'm not the smart.
Team.
It's the team, right? And so, look, I only know what my eyes can tell me, and something was different. Now, you can say they didn't play against Florida. You can say whatever you want to, but they played a lot stronger, a lot harder for number 11 last week than it felt like they had played all season. Am I the only person that sees that, or am I on to something there?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. LSU had an extra week to prepare. You got everybody in town saying they stink and they're getting ripped on social media. I mean, I think the players are taking it to heart and they are going to get better every week. I think the defense is going to get better every week. I mean, I think this team is going to progress. All of a sudden LSU beats South Carolina. I mean, I don't know. Did you pick LSU to win last week? I didn't.
Yes, Mike, I did. I was probably the only person in Louisiana, but I did. I didn't think LSU was going to win that football game, and I thought South Carolina might even be able to win it handily. And then LSU looks like that, and TJ Finley plays that way, and it's like all of a sudden and everybody I know was thinking the same thing. Thinking South Carolina was going to win. So now LSU wins that football game, and boy, if they can go to Auburn and get a win, all of a sudden everybody who was thinking, because I was last week, I'm doing my chat, and I'm like, where are the wins going to come from? Mm-hmm.
Arkansas has been improved. Ole Miss isn't going to lay down. I mean, you got some dog fights to try and get to. How hard is it going to be to get to 5-5 and 6-4?
Not easy. It's not a cakewalk.
But all of a sudden now you beat South Carolina like a rented mule, and now if you go to Auburn and win that one, all of a sudden your outlook for the LSU season, you're going to start wanting to plug in some more wins, a lot more with a lot more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to estimate what LSU's final record is going to be.
Mike, I know it's it's there. I told a guy in Tennessee who does a podcast. I told him mark it down. I thought LSU was going to win, but Mike, I'd be lying if I didn't say in the back of my head that I wasn't thinking that LSU was going to be in a dogfight. I did not think that offensively they would push South Carolina around the way that they did. I wasn't expecting that. I'm glad it happened, but I definitely wasn't expecting that.
And see the and that is one thing that we've seen out of Coach Craig's offensive line. They get better every week as the season goes along. And I like what I'm seeing out of Cam Wire.
Me too.
So, if they can stay healthy, that of course the running game was absolutely huge. I mean, that was a big deal.
Mike, let me ask you this very quick. Mike, let me rudely interrupt you here. Because if you go look at, like, statistically, it looked a lot like, maybe not the passing yards, but from the run to pass percentage, it looked a lot like a Les Miles game. But boy, did it feel a lot different, right? 70% run, 30% passing. But damn, did it not feel just absolutely amazing to see a young quarterback in that offensive line and running the football. Let me ask you this going into this game. Go ahead.
No, I like that aspect. And to me, that's what you need. That's where LSU needs to be.
Agree.
You need to be able to run the football because you've got a struggling defense. I mean, there was that time of possession at one point was just way out of whack. And that's what you need.
Well, Mike, South Carolina had the ball. I think it was close to 7 minutes, really close to ending the game there on that last touchdown. And if they would have not scored, you could have been talking about a 45 minute time of possession for LSU while scoring 52 points. That would have just been amazing. Mike, looking into the Auburn game, Auburn's defense has really struggled as well. They can't stop the run. They have just been gouged all season long. A team that everybody believes that should be 1-4 now is not that. The scenario, I don't want to go back to the quarterback scenario with TJ and Miles, but this is setting up for LSU to go out there and potentially have another good game. How do you see it going on Saturday?
Yeah, and look, and here's I think LSU is going to win on Saturday. Of course, now the script could be absolutely flipped. You got everybody saying Auburn's only got several more wins than they should because of refs, and so now they sit back where everybody's questioning them and who they are, and they got a home game, and now LSU's coming to town. There's still what's the line now? Is it still -3? What is it?
When I was on my way home, it looked like it was 4.5. But don't count me on that. But I'm pretty sure it's 4.5.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like LSU in this one, and it's just I have a hard time believing that TJ Finley, a guy that rolled out the way he did Saturday. I mean, there wasn't right from the first get-go. There was nothing like where balls were sailing, and he needed to settle down and get hit and get his head in the game and get the jitters. I mean, he came rolling like a guy who's a third-year redshirt junior that had played a bunch of downs. And, I mean, look, and not only that, he was just cognizant. You could see him, on the penalties. He was pointing at things. And, it was amazing to watch. I just couldn't believe it was a true freshman. I did not see that coming from TJ, having covered him and seen him so much in high school. But I'm happy for him. It was fun to watch, and super kid and super family. And, but then going forward, it's, how do you handle that if he goes to Jordan Hare and it plays a similar game with a similar stat line on the road, and then how do you take the ball out of his hands?
You don't.
I mean, it's almost like you got to let him keep going. And if Miles is 100%, you say, okay, is Cinderella's glass slipper going to come off? And when it does, you be ready to roll.
Well, Mike, from a college perspective, we could look at Brady, Tom Brady, and Drew Bledsoe, and Belichick went with Tom. From a college perspective, Urban Meyer got criticized for not staying with DeJuan Haskins when they were undefeated. And so there's so many scenarios you don't take the hot guy out, but look, we'll see. Mike, I got to get this last question. A listener, Vic, said, please ask Mike before you go. Last question says, Blake, can you please ask Mike about Tristan Lee and Corey Foreman? Mike, Tristan Lee, the offensive lineman, a lot of people think that he's coming to LSU. Corey Foreman's kind of up in the air. What are you thinking on those two?
Yeah, I still like Tristan Lee to LSU. We haven't talked to him since the season really got underway. We are way overdue to touch base with him again. I know he was supposed to go to Ohio State last weekend and it didn't work out. So, I mean, he's still talking to other schools and being recruited. And that's another factor that I like is that LSU did, they got back in the win column. You need some positivity in the program to go your way. When you're trying to close the deal on out-of-state kids, no matter how solid your relationships are, when you're going up against Clemson, Ohio State, and those types, things can turn on you in a hurry. But I like where LSU is with him. Corey Foreman, I've gone from 60-40 to 50-50 to back to 60-40. He's another one where it's, when you're battling Georgia, you know how you spell Kirby Smart.
Right. Mike, it's always a pleasure. They already know, but tell everybody.
Someone sent me a rate sheet one time of what the going rate sheet is for linemen. And it would curl your hair as to what I was shown. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, all I'm going to say is I got a 17-month-old and praise Jesus if he's not a praised defensive end or offensive tackle. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, they already.
And look, and by the way, before I go, just as a reminder for all your listeners and viewers, AYS30 gets you tigerbait.com for $1 for an entire month. Promo code AYS30.
Yeah. And Mike, always a pleasure. Always fantastic content over at tigerbait.com. Just really my go-to place. And anytime I need information, Mike, you're always fantastic. We greatly appreciate you joining the show.
Hey, always enjoy it. And let me know if you ever need anything. And I'm there for you.
All right.
Talk soon.
Talk soon, man. That's
all right,
Mike.
Okay.
That's Mike Scarborough from tigerbait.com. Guys, you heard it. I mean, look, we can't make it up anymore. Steven, there you go. I mean, Steven's good with the lines. I saw 4.5, but I'm probably wrong there. LSU -3 via covers RN. Jordan Johnson says TJ is like blend between Jamarcus Russell and Ryan Perrilloux, not as fast as RP. I firmly believe he could be a first-round talent. Shit, yeah. Drew DeArmond calls Kirby Smart Kirby Freeze. I like old Drew, man. We got to get Drew back on the show. Drew's funny, bro. Drew's all kinds of funny. I like me some Drew DeArmond. Look, you guys already should know by now, I'm not the biggest guy in reference to recruiting. But look, I'll definitely dabble. It doesn't feel good with Sage Ryan. Not at all. I don't know how much I agree with Mike there in reference to Sage Ryan, but man, with the connections that he has at LSU, it just doesn't feel good to lose one of your top 2 recruits in your state. But I'm with him. If I was going to lose one of the two, I would rather lose Sage Ryan than Mason Smith. All right, guys, we're going to get to one more sponsor and then one more segment, and then we're going to get on out of here. But guys, as always, don't forget to go see our good friend, Mr. John Patton over at Area Home Lending. With all the recent help from the Federal Reserve, it has pushed mortgage rates down to the lowest that they've ever been. Yes, the lowest ever. If you're considering buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, or even doing a cash-out refi, the timing has never been better. Mention the show, and John will send out his team for a free appraisal through the end of the month, which, guys, isn't too much longer. With over 15 years of experience, I know that John will take care of you and all of your needs. 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. Tell him Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this, and we were supposed to do some Saints recap yesterday, but we're going to do it right now. Guys, I've been blocked on Twitter by Sean Payton. Let me say this, and I know this, Blake's being a little sensitive. Okay. All right. Fine. You can say that. That's your opinion. What the hell is Sean Payton doing blocking people on Twitter? Oh, well, Blake, you're just mad because he blocked you. Well, yeah, I ain't said shit to him. I haven't said anything to Sean Payton. I questioned one call about him taking out a Hall of Fame quarterback that, by the way, had hit 8 straight passes, and you took him out for Taysom Hill that, by the way, got you negative yards, and you didn't score on that drive. Oh, and by the way, you only won by 3 points. Against a Teddy Bridgewater-led team when Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves, was just as hot. And don't tell me, well, Blake, he's got someone running his social media accounts. BS. Because he surely doesn't have someone running his social media accounts when it comes to Mike Thomas. You want to talk about something? Now, I'm one of the biggest Saints fans that you're ever going to meet. But you have a head coach being so damn petty that he wants to go out there and start blocking people because we said, why did you put Taysom in here there or put Taysom Hill in the game right there? Get out of here with that. You want to win a Super Bowl? Stop getting your ass on Twitter. Hashtag Rufino's Rants. I don't give two Rudy Poos, and it even rubbed me the wrong way when he didn't have me blocked. So Sean Payton, let me tell you something right now, brother. You want to win a Super Bowl? Stop getting your ass on Twitter. Hey, instead of blocking my ass on Twitter, why don't you go over to the defensive room and start doing something about how bad your defense is doing? Not only are you doing that to me on Twitter, what else you're doing is that you're calling out Marcus Williams. You don't have his back. He's one of your players. You're still starting him. And what in the hell are you doing? Oh, but Blake, they're 4-2. Bullshit. You want to get paid all that money. You want to call out the NFL. You want them to do a pass interference rule. You want them to do all of this stuff. But you get your butt up there and start doing things on Twitter saying, oh, it's a $6 million question, knowing that we're talking about Marcus Williams. Every time they pull Breeze or Taysom, it's a wasted down for the most part, says Dylan Landry on Facebook. Ryan Mayer says Sean Payton is very petty. Let me tell you something about Sean Payton right now. Until he cleans this shit up, until he stops getting his ass on Twitter, you ain't going to a Super Bowl. Now, I might eat crow and I might eat my words. And you know what? We'll definitely and more than welcome me eating my words and the Saints not going to a Super Bowl. More than welcome to do it. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I'm a fan. But when your head coach is being that damn petty, because I had a question about Sean Payton putting in Taysom Hill that, by the way, hasn't gotten you anything good this year. Oh, by the way, lost you a game against Green Bay. Against us, who talks about the Saints. Us, who comes on here and defends your sorry ass all the time because of stupid play calls, a double pass. Oh, watch this. Her. You want to ask me if I'm upset? I'm not upset. You know what I'm more upset about is that you have a grown-ass man that's a head coach of an NFL football team who's going to pull something like that. My wife says I'm getting very loud. Yes, I am. Jordan Johnson on YouTube says Dennis Allen is the master of mediocrity. I love this wordplay. Sean Payton is the pettiest person in New Orleans. Let's keep going. Sean Payton used to have a Vicodin problem. Oops. Blaine Smith. Payton ego has hurt the Saints. Let's keep playing this game. Sean Payton is an overrated coach. Don't care. at this point. Why don't you tell us how you really feel about the situation? I am. Because quite honestly, Arlen Blackwell, who just said that on Facebook Live, you want me to tell you the truth of the matter? And if you really, really think about it, it's not about him blocking me on Twitter. People block me on Twitter all the time. Don't care about it. Quite honestly, we have the Are You Serious Sports Network and my own personal Twitter that if I want to see something he's got to say, not that difficult. Can still watch all of his news briefings. Not that difficult. Covering the team, guess what? Not that difficult. Not a problem. Who hit me up on the hotline? I'm not answering that question. But at the end of the day, to all 37 of you, Sean Payton needs to stop acting petty because although I got a little angry, said he's not that good of a coach, he's a great offensive mind. He calls players out in the media. I mean, that's Bill Parcells-ish, okay? And I get that. You learn from Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells did it all the time. But you've also said good things about Marcus Williams. You've also defended him. What's the difference between Marcus Williams now? You defended him in Minnesota. You defended him all last season. So what's the $6 million question again? Let me ask you this. You hadn't called out Cam Jordan. You hadn't called out Mike Thomas in the media either. You said that all of those things were false about the trading rumors when we all know that you're lying. You mean to tell me that Sports Illustrated, or not Sports Illustrated, whoever in the hell was reporting it, guys, it's slipping my mind, who has been damn right about a lot of reporting, just pulled that out of the ether? You mean to tell me that Mike Thomas's agent didn't call him and tell him that? Oh, well, he should have done better reporting and called Sean Payton. Well, did you see what Sean Payton did on Twitter? Did you see the level of pettiness that you get? Hey, Sean, how's Mike Thomas? We don't talk about injuries here. Okay, well, we saw him limping off the field. I don't care. Guys, as Arlen says right here, it's childish. It's childish. You want your Saints to win a Super Bowl? Look, I got to be the only person in the world that's talking ill about Sean Payton. That's okay. But I do not like seeing from my head coach what I'm seeing that him doing on social media. Now, is what Lane Kiffin does on social media funny? Okay, but Lane Kiffin's also at Ole Miss. And he's also trying to change a culture at Ole Miss. If Ole Miss was undefeated right now, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be taking, or he wouldn't care about that fine that the SEC just imposed on him. Let's see. Vic says, has LSU staff fallen off the cliff in recruiting? Honesty here, Blake? No. I mean, look, Sage Ryan or not, Brian Thomas or not, they're still probably going to have a top 5 class. I mean, in my opinion, no, I don't think that. Look, if you want to say falling off, I mean, look at the 3 stars and 2 stars, or only 1 2-star, but look at the 3 stars that they've transformed into first-round picks. I don't think that. Valid question, Vic, but no, I don't believe that. All rumors start from inside the organization. Deion Sanders. Boy, if that's not a mouthful. You know why that it's bad rumors? Because you couldn't find anything that you were – look, Michael Thomas would have been $37 million on a cap hit next year if you would have traded him. What is there really out there outside of 2 first-round picks? And if he's really a locker room problem, they're not going to give up 2 picks for him. Now, maybe Michael Thomas, maybe he can warrant that. But you mean to tell me that that wasn't out there in the ether and that teams didn't call in reference to Michael Thomas? Get out of here with that. Peyton is an overgrown man-child. Let me ask y'all this question. Hit me in the comments right now. Everybody hit me in the comments. I'm about to ask you this question. Do you think with a coach acting like that the Saints can win a Super Bowl? Serious question. Valid question. So I have all these notes right here, okay, guys, that we come prepared here at AYS. Now, I know you can't see it because of the light, but all of these questions down here on the bottom that I want to talk about the Saints, but it's really hard seeing your head coach do that. Chris says no. Ryan Mayer says no. Interesting. That's two. Anybody else want to take this? Anybody else want to talk about it? Guys, he's got to get off social media. The end of story. I do not give to look. I don't give two Rudy Poos. Seriously, I don't about the blocking. The blocking on social media does not affect me whatever. But if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Regardless of what we believe or not, or what anybody believes, because of the culture that he has built, and he has been a really good coach at New Orleans at times, you're a top 10 organization now. Top 5 coach in the NFL. Let me tell you who doesn't do that. Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, or would it be, John Harbaugh, Bill Belichick. Let's see. Let's continue to go down this line here. Who else doesn't do it? Who else is really good? Bruce Arians. Tom Brady talks about the victory of his team when he's on social media. I know he's not a head coach, but always has something positive to say. The GOAT of all time. By the way, you did have, regardless of what your political beliefs are, you had Drew Brees that was on social media talking about the flag. Regardless, right or wrong, whatever your opinion is, we respect your opinion. But he's also on social media and platforms talking about it. And you saw how that went. Let's think of some good head coaches. Who's some really good head coach? Oh, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll calls it the tweeter machine, just like Ed Orgeron does. Cliff Kingsbury, who grew up in the generation of social media, don't see him on there. And the only time you do is because someone got a picture of him with a new honey. Who else? What's his name out there in San Francisco? Oh, gosh. I don't know. I forget. But you get what I'm saying. Mike Tomlin, says Derek. I don't even know if Mike Tomlin's got a Twitter. Arlen says, no, I wouldn't want to go to battle with a coach like that. I think Sean is uncharacteristic petty for a head coach, but he's always proven he can win at the highest level, says Jordan. Has he? Last 3 playoff appearances, Jordan, you got out-coached. Kyle Shanahan. Thanks, Ryan. Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan ain't up there. He was in the Super Bowl last year. Doug Peterson. Look, guys, I get that Sean Payton won a Super Bowl, but he won a Super Bowl in 2009. By the way, Twitter was invented when? 2008? So not even a prevalent thing. Talking to media members, however in the hell he sees fit, get out of here with that. All right, Vic, I saw your comment. I greatly appreciate that, guys. Look, we do have the storm that's coming tomorrow over here in the North Shore. Everybody stay safe. We appreciate you joining. We'll try to be back tomorrow, but if we're not, we will see you Thursday. Guys, as always, my name's Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Have a good night.